Ever since I got the US Bank Altitude Reserve card about 1 year ago, this card has been a major player in my core credit card setup. As someone who lives in the suburbs of Southern California, almost every place I go to has some form of tap to pay. And what's interesting is that since I've received my US Bank Altitude Reserve, the card is still in pristine condition, as I really only use it for Apple Pay due to its 3x multiplier on all mobile wallet purchases with no caps or limits. So in this video, I'm going to do a 1-year review of the US Bank Altitude Reserve card and explain the 3 reasons why it's my favorite card and how exactly I use it to get the most value that I can. Now, this card has classically been one of those that's hard to get, but there have been many data points showing that even without a previous US Bank relationship, some are able to get approved anyways. Of course, it's hard to tell what are the main factors that contribute to an approval or a denial of the US Bank Altitude Reserve, but like a lot of other credit cards out there, I think there are standard guidelines that are still helpful. For this card, having a low number of new accounts and or hard pulls over the past 6 months seems to be the one that I've seen, anecdotally at least, that's the most common factor when I look at US Bank Altitude Reserve approvals versus denial data points on Reddit. In the past, a previous relationship with US Bank, like having a checking account, used to be mandatory to get this card, but this is no longer the case, and so this card is available to you even if you're not a US Bank customer already. And remember, even if you get outright denied for this card, which is common by the way, make sure to call the reconsideration line to request a manual review because it's not really a denial until it's truly a denial. But before we get into the reasons why I love this card so much, let's briefly go over this card so we know what it's all about. The welcome offer on this card is to earn 50,000 bonus points worth $750 on travel after spending $4,500 within the first 90 days of account opening. And while cashback redemptions would only yield $500 in value, if the points are redeemed for travel through the US Bank travel portal or for travel by using real-time rewards, this value can increase by 1.5 times up to $750. The card does have a $400 annual fee, but this is offset by a very easy-to-use annual $325 travel and dining statement credit. This credit is definitely one of the easiest, if not the easiest statement credit to use, not only because it's an annual credit, but it can be used for both the travel category and the dining category as well. By spending $325 over the course of a year on either travel or dining, this drops the effective annual fee of the card from $400 to just $75. The multipliers on this card are also pretty good, with 5x points back on prepaid hotels and car rentals booked directly in the Altitude Rewards Center, 3x points back on eligible travel purchases and mobile wallet spending on Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Samsung Pay, and 1x points back on all other eligible purchases. The card also comes with some pretty nice travel benefits, including no foreign transaction fees, primary auto rental collision damage waiver, and a $100 TSA pre-check and global entry credit once every 4 years. Of course, we can't forget about the Priority Pass membership on this card, where you get 8 free visits to Priority Pass airport lounges and experiences. Specifically, these 8 Priority Passes also include access to Priority Pass restaurants, making this Priority Pass membership more accessible than the ones from other credit card issuers. As for the benefits, this card is a Visa Infinite card, so it comes with all the travel protections and insurances you'd expect, including trip cancellation and interruption insurance, trip delay reimbursement, lost luggage reimbursement, emergency evacuation, and travel accident insurance. And as a Visa card, another nice benefit is that this card can be used at Costco. So for those of you who shop at Costco, this is a great card to use for that purpose too. And going back to the redemption types on this card, there's a lot of options to redeem your points, including cashback, shopping, gift cards, on the travel portal, and my personal favorite, real-time rewards. Once you sign up for real-time rewards and select the categories that have the elevated 1.5 cent per point redemption rate, US Bank will send you a text message after spending the minimum purchase amount asking if you'd like to redeem your points. And these categories are shown here, which are airfare, lodging, rental cars, and other travel. All you have to do is text back redeem, and just like that, you're able to redeem those points for 1.5 cents per point. Now, this is good by itself, but if you use this card exclusively for that 3x travel and mobile wallet category, that'll mean that all your purchases would earn a flat 4.5x points back essentially being a cashback redemption. And this is pretty phenomenal because so many categories are covered at the 4.5x level on a single card for an effective annual fee of $75. And that brings me to the first reason why I love this card, which is its lower effective annual fee. Now, at first glance, this is not a card that you'd think would have a low annual fee, clocking in at $400 per year. But one of my biggest pet peeves in the credit card space these days is the drive for many credit card companies, specifically one in particular, to increase annual fees, but to increase the number of statement credits as well. And if they just simply raise the value of an already existing statement credit, that would be one thing. But sadly, instead of doing that, they just add more statement credits on a more frequent basis and make them harder to use. But since the US Bank Altitude Reserve card came out, it continues to have a single statement credit to offset the annual fee. And not only that, but this is the easiest statement credit arguably across all credit cards to complete. It's very similar to the $300 annual travel statement credit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, except the statement credit on the US Bank Altitude Reserve card also includes dining too. And another nice thing about the statement credit is that even though you get credit back from those travel and dining purchases, if those purchases are travel, you do get the 3x multiplier on that purchase as well, which is a great way to double dip on those benefits. So, in my opinion, it's one of those statement credits that you can get the full value from, and so we can safely say that the effective annual fee on this card is just $75. And annual fee cards are special because these are the cards that we have to keep a close eye on year over year to make sure that we're still getting our expected value. So for me, as this card is the one that I use the most in my everyday life, it's certainly worth it to me. There are certainly other cards to consider, for example, the Kroger Rewards MasterCard, which gets you 5% cash back on mobile wallet purchases on up to $3,000 per year, but for me, that cap is too small. It's also possible to get multiple versions of this card, but again, I'm a bigger fan of simplicity, and $75 is a small price to pay for that convenience. And if we compare this card to a no annual fee 2% cashback credit card at an effective annual fee of $75, earning 4.5x points back on most purchases, I would need to spend at least $3,000 in a single year to break even, and any other purchases on top of that would just be added value. But for those of you who are skeptical about this card compared to a card like the Kroger Rewards MasterCard, I made a recent video breaking down both cards head to head. So to see what that looks like, I'll leave a link to that video up top as well as down in the description below. And as I've had this card for about 1 year and my annual fee just posted, I wanted to ask for a retention offer since I've heard that these are pretty easy to get on the US Bank Altitude Reserve. I also want to give a huge shout out to both Dugraz from Dugraz Reports and RemGB, who has been a longtime viewer of my channel, for reminding me to ask for an Altitude Reserve retention offer at my next card member anniversary. Now, from what I recall, they both got retention offers that were pretty good, around 10,000 points to be exact. But sadly, this wasn't the case for me. When I called to ask for a retention offer, the customer service agent told me that I had an offer for 1,000 points, which is better than nothing, I guess, but still not nearly as good as the ones I've heard of in the past. I asked if there were any other offers, and unfortunately, that was the only one that I had, so I just took it. So yeah, not really the outcome that I wanted, but 1,000 points is 1,000 points, so I guess there's that. The second reason why I love the US Bank Altitude Reserve is, of course, the uncapped 3x mobile wallet multiplier combined with the 1.5x boost using real-time rewards for point redemptions. Now let's be clear. While this is a travel card, it's really limited compared to the competition in that US Bank does not have any travel partners where you could transfer your points and possibly earn an even higher value for them. So for all intents and purposes, this card is a cashback card with a floor and ceiling of 4.5x points back on all purchases, assuming you always use the 3x travel or mobile wallet category for purchases, and you always redeem using the travel portal or through real-time rewards. But I don't really mind using this card in this way all the time because it really brings a level of simplicity to my setup that I can't find on any other card. Not only do I earn a pretty solid uncapped 3x multiplier on mobile wallet purchases, but I also have a very simple and easy way to redeem all of my points through real-time rewards. And over the past year, that redemption solution for me has basically been Uber rides. I've connected both my Uber account and my wife's Uber account to our US Bank Altitude Reserve card, and so every time one of us gets an Uber, I get a text message on my phone to redeem my points using RTR with that 1.5 cent per point redemption. And for us, we do Uber pretty frequently as it's our primary source of transportation when going to the airport, and of course, when we travel around US cities, we generally prefer to take Ubers over renting a car. So yes, it'd probably be nice to save these points up and then redeem them for a first-class flight or luxury hotel, but as we've been working on welcome offers throughout the year, it's sometimes hard to get that point stashed into the US Bank system high enough to make that great redemption. That's because even though a $750 flight would only cost 50,000 points, in order to redeem these points, you would first have to have 75,000 points available. So for me, earn and burn is a strategy for my US Bank Altitude Reserve points. With most of our Uber trips costing about $20 to $40, that's about 2,000 to 4,000 points needed in the bank before the real-time rewards would trigger, ultimately costing 1,500 to 3,000 points anyways, and so this keeps my points balance pretty low. I also want to mention that I've never used the Altitude Reward Center for purchases or redemptions. While there is an elevated multiplier of 5x points back on prepaid hotels and rental cards booked in the Altitude Reward Center, I'm personally not a fan of travel portals and prefer the simplicity and convenience of booking these things direct. So I don't have anything positive or negative to say about the Altitude Reward Center, but I bring this up to say that I've had this card for a full year and I've never bothered using the Altitude Rewards portal for anything. And to be fair to everyone, I personally don't redeem travel through any travel portal, just in general. Now, if I had a Chase Sapphire Reserve card, I would certainly consider it because of that 1.5 cent per point floor on your domestic airfare, and maybe even some hotel redemptions still might be worth it, but we'll see if I ever get this card. And the third reason why I love this card is that even though the redemptions are really just cash back, this is still a travel card, and one of the travel perks that come with it is the Priority Pass membership that gives you 8 free visits per year. Now, there have been some recent data points on Reddit where some have tried to go to Priority Pass restaurants, but the Priority Pass from the US Bank Altitude Reserve card wasn't accepted. This may just be a one-off situation, but it does bring some concern that it may be possible that US Bank has silently dropped support for Priority Pass restaurants on its Priority Pass. Having said that, there are also other people who have confirmed that the pass was indeed accepted at a Priority Pass restaurant, so we're going to have to get more data points to see what truly is going on. But assuming that this Priority Pass does include restaurants, this is nice for me because I'm able to use this Priority Pass for this specific reason if I find my travels take me to a Priority Pass restaurant. Looking back over the past few years, I've never actually been to an airport with a Priority Pass restaurant, so not having this benefit doesn't really affect me, but it would be nice to have the option if it comes up. For me, I'm using my Chase Ritz-Carlton Priority Pass for my airport lounge visits, but I'm also using it because it covers Sapphire lounges by the club, except for the Sapphire Terrace lounge in the Austin airport. I also have the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card, which has a Priority Pass membership with unlimited access, including Priority Pass restaurants, but this card comes with a $550 annual fee. As I'm always looking to lower my annual fees and avoid overlap with my credit card benefits, I'm likely going to product change this card to another Bank of America card, likely another customized cash rewards card, and then use the US Bank Altitude Reserves Priority Pass for my Priority Pass restaurant access. And as I mentioned before, I don't frequent Priority Pass restaurants, so having this Priority Pass on the Premium Rewards Elite credit card, while it is a great benefit overall, just doesn't fit with my own personal travel habits. And so those are the 3 reasons why I love the US Bank Altitude Reserve card after holding it for a year. From my view, this is the card to get if you want a simple card with a low effective annual fee and a pretty easy redemption option using real-time rewards. Since I got this card, I've been using it pretty much every day, except for when I'm working on a welcome offer. But when the offer is done, I go right back to this card. And like I mentioned earlier, there's been some concern about whether this card is better than the no annual fee Kroger MasterCard that gets you 5% cash back on wallet purchases on up to $3,000 in spend per year. And to see why I think the Altitude Reserve card is better, check out this video next.